Hello, and we've had a very interesting day. We had a rally at the BC Ledge. I'm going to talk more about that coming up next. And the ledge, at the ledge, and it was really at the ledge, and it was a beautiful day. We'll talk more in just a few minutes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host. And what a week it has been, Neil. Wow. Everyone tuning in right now, it's been an eventful week preparing for the big rally at the BC Legislature in Victoria, British Columbia. Well, first of all, the week started with just preparation work, some interviews. Jeff Leggat from Disability Action of Canada was on an interview with CFAX 1070 in Victoria, which was awesome. Awesome, Jeff. Kudos to you on that. That was a fabulous interview. And then after that, Jeff actually had another interview with the Times columnist. I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. Then the Times columnist wanted to have an interview with myself and Sonjia. So we then reached out, on the next day. So Jeff had the interview on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we had the interview with the Times columnist. So we got all that underway. That was a really good interview. Just talked about lived experience, what government-imposed poverty has an effect on people's lives. And so we talked about lived experience stories about rent and everything else, and then prepared for today, which is Thursday, May 29th.
Well, let me stop you there, Brent.
Yep.
You skipped a step. You skipped the introduction at the legislature on Wednesday.
Oh, yes.
You were introduced at the ledge.
We were actually. That was actually really, really great. I was just so excited to talk about today's event that I skipped forward on that one. Yeah, so after the interview we had with the Times columnist, we actually had an interview, and then we had a meeting after that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had an interview, and that went great. And then we actually went to the BC Ledge, and we watched question period, which was great. We got introduced by the BC Conservative Party, the shadow minister, or the critic. I like to call her the critic for social development and poverty reduction, which is on the opposition side of the governing party, which is the NDP in BC. So the critic on the opposite side is the shadow minister. Critic, some people will call her either or. I like critic better. We had an interview with Kristina, and we had a few other members of other parliamentary staffers that were in there. We had a couple of other MLAs. I make sure I'm not going to forget any names here. People were coming and going, and it was a great meeting, very constructive meeting. We basically let the members know that what it's like to live in legislative poverty, have ideas about housing, affordability. We touched about diabetes. Sonjia talked to them about diabetes, which was great. Very informative, by the way. I mean, she educated them on some of what she goes through and how that affects her diet. I mean, based on finance-wise. Not having enough income. And rent geared to income. We talked about rent geared to income also. Is some of the topics. Getting more housing built. I mean, great. I had the idea, which I've suggested on the podcast before, about extending it over to the market housing.
And let me just stop you there, Brent, because we're doing an intro for all this, but at the end of your intro, what we're going to do is we're going to throw to some of the highlights of Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, Thursday. So after your intro, we're going to throw to the first thing we're going to throw to is Jeff's radio interview. Then the second thing we're going to throw to on the Wednesday, the Wednesday was the introduction at the Ledge, and then today you did a really awesome speech at the lawn out in front of the legislature. It was a really awesome speech. But I have to say as well that unfortunately I was having some technical issues, and Jeff was as well. I'm pretty sure it's the first time he was using Zoom at a big event like this, trying to capture it for people, and I just wasn't able to get the sound working properly on my end either. I was hoping that I could run it through OBS like we do on the podcast, but it wasn't letting me do that. And then the audio and video quality of the Zoom, people will see it. It's good enough, but anyway, just long story short, I was really only able to get your interview, and it started with Sheila's. Sheila did her not your interview, sorry, your speech. So I caught most of Sheila Malcolmson's speech, but there was two MLAs before her. We had the BC Green. I didn't get any of his, and I didn't get any of the BC Conservatives, and that was only because of all the sound issues and the technical issues.
Oh, Robin Krina's,
I wasn't able to capture it all, unfortunately. And next year, if we do it next year, I think the big thing is that I didn't have control over the Zoom. Like it wasn't being pumped through my computer. Like I didn't have ownership of it. I didn't have the admin rights on it, basically, or administrative.
There's going to be one this fall at the BC.
Yeah. So if I had more control of the live stream, I would have been able to control the video and audio quality way better. And
it's pretty windy down there, Neil.
Maybe the sound wouldn't have been good, but I could have at least improved the video. I know I could have. But again, like, no slight against what Jeff did, because he did an amazing job.
Fantastic job.
Really, really good job. And it's just one of those learning lessons. So I'm sure if he did it again next year, I could have actually suggested that he give control over to me. I wasn't really thinking. I should have just asked him to give me the admin rights to, so I could have had everything going through my computer anyway. And it probably would have been smoother. It would have been better audio and video quality, at least a little bit. But having said all that, it was a great event. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show some highlights now, unless you wanted to keep talking on a few things.
We'll definitely go through some of the highlights coming up here.
Okay.
Definitely DJ All Good was the major theme of the rally. Wow, kudos to DJ All Good. it was chill. It was great. People were dancing around on the legislature grounds. It was fantastic. Yeah, and you know what, everyone? DJ Allgood, Sonjia asked for a song request, and DJ Allgood went and played her song request.
Well,
she wanted Elvis. She requested.
Oh well, there you go.
And and he wasn't all shook up. No. Yeah, it was great though. It was made her day. So
that's good.
We're gonna dive in now into some of the highlights. So enjoy some of the events that we got to experience. Now you're gonna experience.
And like I said, this isn't a normal podcast, so we're not gonna come back at the end and do our regular outro. we're just going to throw to the highlights, and then the video is going to end, and hope everybody enjoys it. But I think people will recognize that the video quality isn't the best. But like I said, I didn't have control over that. It wasn't something that I had any administrative authority over. So again, next year, it's something that if I did have control over it, it would have been. Well, another thing too is we would have been able to capture the whole thing. Like I feel bad that we missed the first two. We missed the first two MLAs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's too bad that we only got Sheila. So again, it was no slight against the other two MLAs. Great that they showed up. It's just our bad that we weren't able to capture them on.
Well, with the wind blowing pretty strong there, it was really gusting pretty strong too at the down the BC Ledge. Anyone who's familiar with the BC Legislature, you're right down the waterfront too. So when that wind starts clocking up, the tents were just flapping around too. It's like, and so they were holding stuff down, putting water cases of water. We had water bottles there too.
Oh, okay.
And they were anchoring it down on the tent so that it would keep it down. And one thing was it was cake. We didn't eat it too. There was a problem with the cake on the way. It did not survive the journey on the way. But here's the good news, everyone. The cake is going to get donated to the homeless people. Jeff's taking care of it.
That's good.
Not going to go to waste. He says, we know how to salvage things. We know how to work with the situation. Hey, there was little goodie bars so he had for everybody. So we were handing them out, bottles of water. It was great, good times. I wish that the event was a little bit longer.
I was worried that I was going to miss out on cake, and so now I don't feel as bad because everybody missed out on cake.
Yeah, you didn't miss out, and I didn't have your slice either. I didn't get any cake either. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it was great. And I want to thank everyone who did come out to the rally. It was actually a really good turnout. I was quite surprised. I did mingle in my speech that you're going to hear coming up. I did ask people to, either come up to me or like I'd come to them. And actually, they all started coming to me. So I was talking to some individuals, and then there's other people that were kind of waiting, and then other people were waiting behind them. And so, I didn't want to be rude, to stop talking to certain individuals, but I knew some other people wanted to get my attention too, and they were kind of inching their way around, and I used to do that to John Horgan, trying to get his attention.
Well, the other thing I should say too, and again, I wasn't playing favorites at all. The other thing we should say is that you had Peter Cunnington and Tom Pogson both gave speeches as well.
Yeah, they did.
And they were pretty good, but the only thing was the sound was not good. The sound kept cutting out. So in the highlight package that we're gonna go throw to in a second here, you're not gonna see any of Peter Cunnington or any of Tom Pogson, unfortunately, just because the sound was not good enough. You wouldn't be able to hear any of it. Unfortunately, I think it was probably better if you were actually there. I think people could have heard it better, but on the Zoom call, the sound just was not good at all. It kept cutting out, and you kind of heard every third or fourth word. So, unfortunately, it was just something that I had to just throw in the garbage. I couldn't really salvage it. So the only speeches you're going to hear are Sheila Malcolmson and yourself. And again, we're not playing favorites. I wish we could have captured the whole thing. I wish we could have captured the BC Greens and the BC Conservative speeches, but it just the sound was just too muddy, and it's just unfortunate. Yeah.
A lot of great speeches, but there's always the next rally, and looking forward to the next rally. Anyone who I have approached in the rally, I've given out a lot of the cards for the podcast here. Reach out to myself, reach out to Neil, and if you reach out to me, I will forward it on to Neil. So don't be surprised all of a sudden if you reach out to me first, all of a sudden like, oh, Neil, how did you get a hold of this? I forwarded on because Neil is going to be then communicating with you and making
Yeah.
arrangements for you to come onto the
It
show.
sounds like it sounds like you got a whole bunch of cards delivered.
Oh,
And
I did.
what I'm really excited about is that you handed a lot of cards out to the Conservatives. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been really trying hard to get any Conservative MLA to come on the podcast. Nobody's come on yet, and
Yeah.
I want so bad to get like one or two or three or four to come on.
Well, David Williams,
Yeah,
he approached me, and he said that to refer Kristina, the, uh,
yeah,
the the opposition critic, to come on, and he loves the
yeah.
podcast. He's subscribed. He knows other people that have subscribed. He said he can give this channel a good boost. So,
So
there you go, everyone.
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to have the BC Conservatives on because like personally, I've been trying real hard to get like I've been putting out tons of emails to them, we both have been wanting to get them on,
Yeah.
and because it's a whole other party. It's important that we get a chance to talk to them. So
Yeah, to hear other opinions on where do they see things at for advocacy wise, like for like raising rates and getting the poverty level up to financial support, and that's what the rally was about, is to get up to no less than poverty level financial support. And to do that, you're going to hear some of the speeches of what went on from myself and Sheila Malcolmson, who is the MLA for social development and poverty reduction on the government side. Like I say, anyone who has, I had reached out to at the rally. There was a lady in a motorized scooter, Neil, really super nice lady. Actually, everyone that I approached were super nice, but her to be husband. And so I said, well, congratulations. And they told me what got their attention was about the bus pass. And I'm like, oh, and I had thrown it about a bus pass in there. I mean, and nothing against Sheila, nothing against the minister. I mean, they said they restored the bus pass, but I just had to kind of throw it out there a little bit because, as we know, there's still that choice of having the cash versus the bus pass, and so I got their attention, and it was actually quite a warming sentiment knowing that the impact that I had on my speech. It really, I heard clapping everywhere. That's what I heard. But I was focused on my speech. One regret that I have for my speech, and this is nothing against any of the audience or anybody, but for myself. But because I only had so much time, and I knew the clock was ticking down, and I looked beside me, and Jeff was keeping an eye on the time, and I practice on these speeches, and I know when I'm doing my podcast, the same thing.
Yeah.
When it reaches that time, everyone, it's time to clock out, right?
That's right.
So I was, and I had already mentioned to a few people beforehand, I'm going to be talking about the time machine. I said, we're going to go back in time about the rates. And so I'm going to say that now because this is all part of the podcast of this version. So anyone who missed that part in my speech because I didn't get a chance to say it. So what I was going to say is anyone that was familiar with, Back to the Future, I think we all watched Back to the Future, didn't we? The series 1, 2, and 3. Now, my favorite was part 1 and 2. Two was my ultimate favorite. 3 was okay. I don't know. I
like the first one still.
Yeah. I don't know if the third one, it just didn't seem to resonate with me as much. It was great, but I went back and I thought, looking at this again, like some of the clippings from that movie and things that stood out. And when I looked at it, I thought, you know what, this would be kind of interesting, or I'll throw it into a podcast one day and I'll talk about. And I thought, I'm going to use that little theme. Let's go back into the time machine, and we'll go back in time. So what I'm doing on this
strap into the DeLorean and go 88 miles an hour.
we're gonna see some serious and of course I'm not saying that word, but hey, we're gonna go right back. We're gonna go back to 1982, everyone. So 1982, you can actually rent a place for $500 plus. But guess what the shelter rate was? $325 for persons with disabilities and people on income assistance in the province of British Columbia. $325 in 1982. So the rate stayed that way until 2007.
So let's talk about the spread then. So the spread then was about $175 spread between $325 and $500.
Yeah, the actual check amount was $500. Yeah, that's it. $500. 500 buckaroos. And so you had $175 for all your essentials. Imagine that. I mean,
Wow.
cable, food, hydro.
Wow.
They didn't have tenant insurance back then. It wasn't mandatory. Now it is in a lot of places, which I still differ with that. I have a problem with that. But yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, some places they don't impose it in, but there's other places that they want to see it, and then once they see it, then that's it. It's up to the tenant to deal with it, right? But yeah, I mean, $325, and the actual disability amount was $500, and that was 1982. So fast forward to 2007, the shelter rate finally increased. So 1982 to 2007, it finally increased to $375. You still couldn't find a place back in 82 for a rent for $500. You definitely could not find a place in 2007 for $500.
No.
And that's from now shelters at $375. It then increased, until 2023. It stayed from 2007 until 2023 at $375. It went up to 500 buckaroos. There's that $500 magic number.
So it matches the 1982 level.
41 years it took, and they raised it twice in 41 years. But they got up to that $500 level because that's what they said, that you could rent at $500. Maybe they got the year mixed up. I think so.
Yeah.
It took 41 years though to figure that part out.
Well, it's basically a 43-year spread between 82 and now. So
because it was actually 41 years up to 2023. And
Yeah.
now they didn't increase it for the last 2 years.
So isn't it nice to know that our housing prices, our housing allowance basically matches the value in 1982.
Yeah, and you can't even get subsidized housing for $500.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's a problem there. That'll be another podcast that we'll be talking about. So stay tuned on another podcast as I dive a little bit further into a little sneak peek of that part of the my speech that I was going to deliver today.
Yeah.
So that was what I was kind of going with on that speech, but I ran out of time. But people were cheering on. They enjoyed the speech from what I really understand. And so I hope you enjoyed today's little bit of a content of sneak peek of our rally. Didn't get any footage of audio from DJ Allgood.
No.
But you know what? It was all good.
That's good. So
and DJ Allgood's come back in the fall.
So just a quick recap then. So when we're going to throw to the highlights, and the first highlight is about 2 minutes worth, roughly, of Jeff's radio interview on Tuesday, and then we're going to have it was about a 1 minute intro in the legislature on Wednesday, and then we have your speech. Actually, it's Sheila Malcolmson's speech first.
Comes first,
and then yours. So that's right at the end, and it's about, I think, 17 minutes worth everything.
That was really nice, Sheila Malcolmson, for you coming out to the rally. Thank you again. That was just totally awesome. Thank you everyone. But Sheila, that was a really good speech that you gave, and really enjoyed the time that you spent to kind of interact with me and talking about disability-related advocacy stuff. And as always, always there to always take some advice and I will give you the input that you're actually wanting from the advocates. And so thank you again.
Yeah, because it's hard, to stand in there and be able to take the heat, and she's willing to do it, and
There was a lot
Yeah.
of people in our audience, I'll call it, she was interacting with too, which was really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I just think it's very important for, for her to do that. And, we have to acknowledge that there have been some ministers in the past of social development and innovation that haven't stood in there and done that. So we just have to give the kudos where kudos are deserved. So
they were missing in action for sure.
Yeah, well done, Sheila, and you deserve the kudos for that. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely, Sheila. Yeah, kudos to you, Sheila, for coming out to our rally, and I hope you enjoyed DJ Allgood, the music there. It was echoing off the parliamentary building too. It was loud.
Yeah.
It was good. DJ Allgood.
We're going to change topics right now and talk about disabilities. And Jeff Leggat with the Disability Action of Canada is joining us as our guest. Good afternoon, Jeff.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Good, thank you.
So you've got a big event coming up this week. Why don't we start there and you can tell everybody what you've got planned.
Perfect, thank you. We have a Raise the Rates PWD Persons with Disabilities rally and DJ chill event on Thursday afternoon at the BC Legislature steps, starting at 1 o'clock. And what that is just a rally to encourage the government to raise the rates for people on disability up to close the gap between what we're getting right now and the official poverty level of Canada. Right now, we're about $500 short in BC as far as the disability income support levels are. So it's important to end the government-imposed poverty of disabled people so that people on disability are able to actually participate in their communities, actually able to be in their communities, not in a state of survival every month and running out of food by day 21 or what have you. So we're trying to just encourage the BC NDP government to end the government-imposed poverty of disabled people.
So let's talk about Thursday. You've gotten the rally planned. Obviously, the spot is strategically thought out because no place to deliver a message to the legislature better than at the legislature. But
Exactly.
I noticed you're trying to make this more of a positive experience. You got the DJ. You got is that on? Are you trying to create a little diverse atmosphere here?
I am, and thank you for asking that. I've been doing this for 6 years as a disability advocate across Canada, both on a provincial and a federal level. And I'm just not a big fan of the angry protest. We've been saturated with that so much over the last 5-10 years. So I'm trying to. I foster relationships with politicians on all parties, the Greens, the Conservatives, the Party of BC, and the NDP, and we foster some positive relationships, and we want all parties to work together to end this social injustice or social issue rather than being a political partisan issue, right? So I like to hold a rally with positive energy, with a little bit of fun, but at this point, we just need to get money into the pockets of disabled people because food is crazy, rent is crazy, and living in a constant state of poverty is so oppressive and damaging to anybody.
Member for Kelowna Centre.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have the privilege of introducing a couple people today. I want to recognize 3 outstanding disability advocates who've dedicated themselves to the fight for dignity, equity and justice for persons with disabilities across Canada. Jeff Leggat is the founder of Disability Action Canada, an advocacy group he launched in 2019 with a clear and urgent mission to eliminate legislated poverty for medically assessed and designated persons with disabilities. Jeff's tireless work calls for monthly disability income support that is fair, equitable, and tied directly to Canada's official poverty line, no exceptions. Joining him in this essential fight are Brent Frain and Sonjia, 2 respected advocates based in Victoria. For years, Brent and Sonjia, have campaigned for proper financial support for persons with disabilities and have made their voices heard across the political spectrum. Brent also hosts a powerful podcast bringing together politicians, advocates, and community leaders to spotlight the issues facing the disabled community, not only here in BC, but across the country. I'm looking forward to meeting them this afternoon.
To be gathered here today at the legislature, at your house, really important, and appreciate the organization that got us together here. We want, like all three parties you've heard, we all want people to have the help that they need to deal with the costs of today, and all the supports that they need to have to live a good life in British Columbia. But these are tough times. Like we feel in every community people struggling, and the impact of global inflation, it hits everybody, but we know it hits people on income and disability assistance more than others. And so what's next? Very first thing, because a lot of you fought so hard to have the federal government actually go ahead and implement the Canada Disability Benefit, like congratulations, we're still pushing on it. We know it's not enough, but you really did get it over the line. And BC government was, I think, the first or second in the country to say that we will not claw it back. And that was because of your advocacy as well. Thank you. When we heard over the last year and a half from more than 10,000 people around BC about what we needed to build into our new poverty reduction strategy, we heard again and again about the spousal rule. And so we're going to end the spousal rule clawback for people on disability. And we're working with the Green Party on that. I really want to raise my hands to Jeremy and Rob for making poverty reduction as one of their priorities. It says a lot, and it's work that we're doing together. We know we need to do more. Your voice is so important. As you can imagine, there's a lot of people asking this legislature for their priorities, and we don't always hear the voice of people with disabilities as loud as other voices. And so this voice is so important. We have our ears wide open. We are listening. I am grateful for all of your advocacy. I count on it. And we are going to, based on our poverty reduction strategy that you helped us build and the work that we're going to do together, we're going to build in more supports. We're going to continue to invest in people. We're going to keep listening and working with you. We are really grateful for you. And I'm so glad to be standing with you today. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much to all three political parties, Rob, Kristina, and Minister Sheila Malcolmson for coming forward today and letting us know that every party is trying to work together to end government-imposed poverty of disabled in BC. If it comes down to, in our meeting yesterday, talking with the BC Conservatives, it's not just one angle we're fighting. We're not just fighting for more money and that's it. We're also fighting for more subsidized housing, so the money you have goes further. If right now only 74% of persons with disability do not have access to subsidized housing and are left to pay market rent or be unhoused. I'd like to introduce Brent Frain. He does a wonderful podcast, PWD Allies, him and Neil. I think Neil's online at home there. Hi, Neil. How you doing? But I'd like to pass the mic over to Brent for a few minutes to talk about his experience and his call for ending government-imposed poverty of disabled Canadians in BC.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you everyone for coming out today. It turned out to be a beautiful day in Victoria, British Columbia, beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. So thanks everyone for coming by. First off, my name is Brent Frain. I'm the host for PWD Allies podcast. It's brought to you every Mondays and Fridays every week. So I encourage everyone to basically sign up through the YouTube channel. My editor, producer, Neil Matheson, keeps me in line. At least he tries to anyway. I talk about a lot of the disability issues that affect people with disabilities in BC and across Canada, across our beautiful country. It's all walks of life. Everyone can be born with a disability, no fault of their own. They can get multiple disabilities as we get older. I mean, everyone will get a disability either physical, mental, or both. They're not always prevalent, so you can't tell if a person has a disability. So what I want to see is equality, where people are not judged for who they are. And when they're on government assistance in British Columbia, those rates are below poverty. As Jeff had mentioned already, some of the other speakers, where these rates are not even at, at 2,100 for the MBM or 2,400 for the LICO formula. We need to get these rates up to a level. Now, one of the things I advocate really strongly for is increasing the rates. Just raise the rates, everyone. Like it, and I basically hold the government to account, and any government that's actually in power. It's not the government, it's the policy. It's what's written in the legislation. We need to modernize the legislation to meet the standard of living. Now, people should not have to go and do crowdfunding or beg people for help, because the government should be providing enough for your basic standards of living. When you don't meet those basic standards of living, you're now basically punishing yourself, saying, well, what did I do wrong in society to deserve to be punished? It's the system that needs to be changed. It's not you. You didn't do anything wrong as a disabled person. Now, I want to focus now on housing. Housing is a very big thing for me. As we all know, in British Columbia and across Canada, we got a housing crisis, an affordability crisis. So imagine, okay, if your rent was $2,400, $2,500 for one bedroom. Now, in reality, that's what they're going for, right? So people with disabilities, they get their full check of $1,483.50 a month. $1,483.50. You cannot even rent a place, a market-based rent place for $1,483.50. You can't even rent it for $500, and that's what the shelter rate right now in British Columbia is for PWD. Now, if you take away that shelter portion off, and because you don't have a fixed address, you don't get that shelter portion. So you have to prove that you have a fixed address to get that. So now you're only getting $983.50. So you go to a corporate landlord and say, well, I've got $983.50, but if you give me $500 more, I can rent from you. And then now you got questions from a corporate landlord saying, that's all they're giving you? So I guess our point is that we want to get these rates up to a standard of living, right? So that you're not questioned and having to prove yourself to anybody. Corporate landlord, you're able to put that money back into society because now you're given more money. You can actually contribute back into the economy, the city that you live in, and help small businesses grow, help everybody grow. I mean, everybody prospers from this, right? In the end of the day. I mean, it's not rocket science to do this. But the other part that I'm really concerned about is that because there's only 26% of a population of persons with disabilities that actually are in subsidized housing. 26%, that's it. So 74% of the population live in market housing. So people saying, well, they're struggling to get by. The cost of living, as we know, 3.8% increase in food costs. I want to see the rates actually tied to COLA, cost of living adjustment. So every year, predictably, it's going to go up. So when you get a rent increase from your corporate landlord, now you're able to now use that money to pay for that rent increase. Because right now, as it stands, there is no cost of living adjustment. You get a rent increase, guess where it comes out of? Your food budget. So where you have to keep cutting back. So you have to keep cutting back more and more. Eventually, where do you cut back? Your rent. Now you become homeless. Now you qualify for BC housing. So I want to put an end to that. I want to stop people from being homeless. I want to actually fix that problem. That there is a loophole in there in the system, so that loophole can be closed, where people in market housing should be able to get what seniors get. They get it's called a SAFERS program, and SAFERS program, where seniors have subsidized income and they can still live in their same home. They don't have to move to a social housing. And I know the government's building more housing for that, and that's great. I mean, awesome, Sheila, on that. And, any members of government that are contributing to getting our housing built. But having people that are already in their current housing, have that program extended over to market housing. So now they pay subsidized housing. and have it based on individuals, not household income, so that when you do get a rate increase, that money doesn't go to your corporate landlord. It actually goes back into the community that you live in. So everybody prospers. I think there's fabulous ideas. I like them. I mean, those are the suggestions that I have. And it helps people stay housed. It helps people prosper everywhere. And, you know, having transportation accessibility is so important too. Like, so having the bus pass brought back, it's been brought back, but you have a choice between $52 and actually using it for food. So automatically, it's actually by default, it's put onto your monthly check, okay, for $52. You can go and buy a pizza. I mean, who loves pizza? I mean, maybe cake, you know, or you can pay a taxi, pay a friend to go and take you somewhere. That's having the money. But if you take it away and you want that bus pass, now you don't get that money. So now the rates haven't been increased. So what do? I mean, how do you go and buy your groceries now? You know, so you have to pick and choose. So ideally, what I want to see is have the bus pass made permanent, increase the rates, let them keep the $52. They can now put that back into, you know, buying healthy food. It makes their health better. It puts less strain on our healthcare system. Lots of great ideas I have, and I'd love to have a chat with each and every one of you. If you have any ideas or you want to hear from me more personally, I'll make my rounds around the crowd and we can talk. And my podcast, yes, my podcast. I mean, definitely reach out to my podcast. Thanks, Jeff, on that. If you want to be a guest and definitely come on and talk about it, go to PWD Allies podcast on YouTube. It's brought to you every Monday and Friday. Neil Matheson will be more than happy to schedule you in and at a simple time that works good for everybody. And we can talk more about lived experience stories. I think that we as society, we can all have our input in and really change things for the better. I know we can do this and we're all here to make it happen. Great ideas, network together. That's what I think. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed my speech today.
Thank you, Brent. Just an FYI, we have a postcard campaign. We're asking you to come on up to the table, grab a postcard, grab a bottle of water, grab some chocolate, sign the back with your first initial, last name, and the city in which you live. It goes in the brown basket and it gets delivered to Premier David Eby's office, asking for an end to government-imposed poverty. I want to say a shout out to Premier's office for giving us their acknowledgement of today's event. He was unable to be here today, but he gives us his best. I also want to say I had a beautiful cake for everybody today. That was the focal point of today's rally. I was driving down over the Malahat and it did not make the Malahat. There was a near miss and the cake was the only casualty in that near miss accident. So I got chocolate instead. Okay, let's have a chill afternoon. We got the DJ going on for the next 90 minutes or 75 minutes or so. Come on up, have some water, have some chocolate, sign a postcard, write to your MLA, demand an increase the disability income support, and have a beautiful afternoon.